Good morning, happy Monday, and thank you and well done for joining me for 10 minutes to get more from your travel industry career or get more from your commercial teams in the travel industry. So today's topic is all about finding a more flexible approach to finding the right talent. And I'm really excited about this. It's kind of my theme for the week, and I'll tell you more about that in a second. So what a lot of hotels are seeing is there's a real shortage in commercial teams. There's lots of reasons for that we might touch on today: Brexit, COVID, etc. And the industry is not really perceived as flexible or as valuable and exciting for younger generations. I'm also moderating a panel this week at Global Revenue Forum all about whether unicorn hunting in hiring is biting us in the butt. So if you're going to be there, it would be great to see you. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Also, just drop in a comment and let us know who's here, because we like to see who's here. And I'm really excited today to have an expert in this flexible approach with me today. So, morning, Rox. How are you?
Good morning, Emily. Thank you for having me.
Very welcome. So Rox Munji is someone who's walked the walk. She's been the head of commercial in a hotel chain. She's also been on the other side as a recruiter. So she's heard what hotels are looking for in their commercial teams. And now she's founded Diversify Hospitality to plug the gaps that she sees. So Rox, do you want to tell us a bit more? Like what's causing all of this?
Yes. So we're sort of working in a world, and I think everybody's familiar with it, where the cost of talent is extremely high. And we are relying so much more on technology to do a lot of the work that we are seeing that there are maybe not enough positions available for quite a lot of the talent that is out there. Just typically sort of talent needs to grow upwards quite rapidly, and that sort of knocks them out. And there's a bunch of hiring bias that's in the background there too. But one of the things that I found that knocked me out of the industry was not being able to find a job that I was able to adapt my life to. Being a single working mom that's spent 20 years in my career in revenue and commercial roles, everything that I was trying to apply for, I wasn't able to do because apparently I'd be bored doing one single role, or I needed to travel extensively, which was just not possible for me.
Yeah, that sounds really tough. And what do you think is causing that attitude of thinking that people aren't going to fit into the roles that we're hiring for?
I think there's quite a bit of unconscious bias, and I think you're going to talk about that a bit later this week. Thinking still quite rigid structures of having to start at 9 and 6, thinking that people aren't flexible for roles where they could be, and then of course roles not being flexible for the people that need to go into them. We also have quite a lot of technology coming in. So I think there's a perception that the technology takes over the human being, which really isn't the case, because you need people at the back end of that technology to make sure that it's working. So it's creating a skills gap, one, because we don't have people working in the roles as intensely, and then the reduction in the hiring because it's expensive is adding to that. So it's snowballing, really, in my opinion.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, when we've got this new technology, you would think that would enable us also to work more flexibly, remotely, etc., different times. But it also actually takes quite an expert to manage it. So if the hotel GMs, for example, are trying to put on their frontline team or the more junior team to manage difficult systems, it actually sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yes, all you need is one script not to be working correctly in the back end, and you need to then have somebody that has the expertise to understand why it's not working, and then to chase and communicate with the technology provider, who in some and quite a few instances are not hotel experts, they're data and technology experts. So you need somebody with the expertise on site to be able to manage that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what does that mean for hotels in terms of costs and profitability at the moment?
So this is where I founded Diversify to support me, and I'm just going to take one step back, is because there was no way for me to get into a job. I needed still pay the bills, right? While I'm passionate about hospitality and I've done it for the last 20 odd years, I still need to work to be able to pay to live, and that's just fact. So in all of those roles that I would have been bored at, I mean, we can all overcome any type of boredom to be able to pay the bills at the end of the day, can't we? So Diversify for me was a place where I stacked different consulting contracts, which then meant that the people buying my service had reduced costs. So they were getting a skilled person for less time, but my ability to execute was higher because I had the experience. I didn't, or if I needed to troubleshoot, I already knew where I needed to troubleshoot. So the hotels benefited from that skill set. I was then benefiting from stacking different consulting contracts, which then kept my financials stable. And I thought this is a really great way that other people who are stuck on the sidelines could then participate in hospitality, fill those gaps. Maybe it's short term, maybe it's transition, maybe it's training, fill those gaps, even if it's while they're searching for their full-time role, right? Because you still need some income coming in. There's nothing more stressful than being without income while you're job searching. So they could fill those gaps in the meantime. And then hotels can then make use of highly skilled professionals for short periods of time to be able to cover off the work that they need done and training that they need done in the interim. Does that answer your question, or did I go completely off?
No, that's perfect. I've just got loads of thoughts coming into my mind from what you said. One is that you already mentioned about, in hospitality, we have this really hierarchical pyramid, and we might have a lot of people in the sales team or revenue team at the bottom, let's say. And as you go up, you're already knocking people out of the pyramid in terms of to become a DOSM or a director of revenue or director of marketing. And there's, on the one hand, there's a big assumption that everybody should want to get up the pyramid, when maybe they have different priorities in life, different places they want to go. And there's also, I see a lot from hotel GMs, a kind of desire to be really picky about who they have in these roles. And actually, you've already knocked out a lot of people along the way. So anything to add to that?
So I think there's another layer to that, is that there is some kind of unconscious bias that says, well, that person's been a sales manager for too many years. There must be something wrong with them because they've never progressed upwards. And I think that's incredibly unfair, right? And I think this goes back to my hiring in the past in roles, but also when I was working in recruitment, you hear a lot of that unconscious bias that is in that hiring still. If just because you had that thought doesn't mean that that person is never going to work in a role or be successful in a role, it's somewhere else, right? So you may be missing that opportunity. And I guess there's a point where it is, all right, so it's not the right fit, but that person is losing out on an opportunity because somebody is not considering them fairly, in my opinion. And I don't think that's right. So I think that, of course, then has a knock-on effect for talents. They start thinking, oh, there's something wrong with me. And then that drops confidence levels and creates a whole bunch of mental health issues. What I have found is hotels are less critical of consultants. There's a different power dynamic there from being a full-time employee to somebody who's hiring you on a contract basis with a statement of work and they're paying you for your services. And I personally have regained a whole lot of confidence from that dynamic shift. And I think there's a lot of consultants out there that will agree that they would second guess going back into full-time employment, right? So this then again will allow somebody to come in, still play the game, monetize their experience, be able to prove themselves. They're going to work hard, right? Everybody works hard. Nobody goes to work not to work hard, generally. It's going to rebuild their confidence. And if they are interviewing for a full-time role, they're not going to have that feeling inside them that they're not suitable. What if something's wrong with me? So they're going to then put themselves in a different how would you say, persona when they're projecting. and putting themselves forward for jobs. They're going to feel so much more confident because they're doing the work, and they don't have all of those stresses of not being able to get, of not being good enough, not having money coming in, worried about paying rents or mortgage at the end of the month. So so I think it's something that will help the confidence of employees, but keep people financially stable while also helping hotels with great skills at a lower cost. Now, not cheap, and I don't want to say that, right? You're still going to be paying for the talent, but we're just going to be able to execute it in a smaller amount of time.
Yeah. And if you're getting someone on that's been working on different projects, they've actually had insight into how other hotels work, how other regions work, and they can bring a fresh pair of eyes to your hotel, which you might not have otherwise.
Exactly. And it may even lead to a full-time role.
True.
Right? Because it's a test run. Also, somebody's skill.
You can see if you fit together. So we have got a question. I'm not 100% sure. So Nima just asked, long-term hospitality management system. Now, I think that he might mean, how is this different from a long-term hospitality management system? Or anything you want to add on to that? Or maybe interpret it differently?
This is, I think I understand, long-term hospitality management system. So you've got a lot of hotel managements, asset managements, management companies that are in play. Yes, right? They are companies that have been built, they're taking on entire properties. There's quite a few of them out there, but if you go back into the real world, there are hotels owners that are running independently that don't necessarily want to buy into a whole hotel management, that they only need a short-term transition maybe, or upskilling of team members, a change of technology, where it's a short-term, more flexible fit, where they don't have the money for bigger, or they don't have the desire for bigger contracts. I do a lot of contracting for hotel management companies. So come in to be able to support them with the hotels that they have. And it's in a more flexible arrangements where it's flexible and it scales, but at the same time I can stack. So I'm not at risk of losing everything all at once. Ideally, it happens. It's the flow of business. The alternative for me personally, and a lot of other people out there, is I can't do a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 6 job. Just the time between drop off at school at 8:30 and to get home or get to a place of work by 9 is impossible. I can't do it. I cannot fit it into my, no way. So I need to find something that works for me, and it's that flexibility, that being an owner of my own time. But I want to play again with hotels and add value, but it's not going to be a whole hospitality management scenario. That's going to be for somebody else. This is that gap in between your branded, your franchise, your hotel management company, and then somebody working in between, saying the bed and breakfast down the road wants to turn something around. They go out, and it's not reinventing the wheel. We have lots of consultants doing this already. I think where I'm coming from a diversified perspective is I'm saying we need to change the way we think about flexible working. And this is a way that we can do that we can support moms, dads, carers to still play successfully in hospitality while it being flexible, but supporting potentially multiple clients at a time, that then helps us still provide for our families.
Yeah. And it's important for the industry as well not to lose all that talent and knowledge, because it's a very niche industry where you have to understand the industry and understand the systems to be able to have impact on it. So it's important that we as an industry don't lose out on all that knowledge and experience that people have.
Exactly. And it's also a space where if you have a director of sales and you're hiring for them, you don't always have somebody above that director of sales. So you can have somebody in the interim while you're hiring, carrying that department and then helping with the induction, rather than having somebody come in who then is just thrown into the deep end, doesn't really have somebody to ask. If you have a professional that took a bit of a handover from the exiting person, was there to support in the interim and then supported with the onboarding of the new person, is going to make that transition so much easier. It's short term, you haven't lost anything, and then your director of sales can come in with hitting the ground running, right? In a smooth start. So I don't know. I hope there's a space for it. I would like there to be.
I think there definitely is. It's about time to wrap up, Rox. So any final thoughts that you want to make sure people have captured from this?
I really want to, because the people that are listening today, we are the ones that start these thought processes internally inside our hotels. So if you're in a full-time role and you have staff shortages or gaps, consider using talent flexibly, remotely, that can tap in, sell that to your general managers, and then they can sell that on, show them the benefits of that. And then off the back of that, if you are a consultant or if you are in between jobs at the moment and you just need a little bit of money, a few hours of work where you can put your skills and expertise in, reach out to me, because as role or support requests come in, there will be opportunities that can be stacked.
Awesome. Thanks, Rox. And if anyone would like to connect with Rox, you can find her on LinkedIn.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.